Here we go. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming devices, content, providers, all of that things that get the content to you. I am Clyde. Today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hey Clyde.
Michael Aston.
Hello everybody.
And Jimmy's not here again. Luckily, we've got good buddy Bad Weave, otherwise known as Kevin Fournier, to fill in. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm real good. How's everybody else doing? Glad to be here, by the way.
Dude,
thanks for asking me on the show.
Totally glad to have you here. Glad you could step in at last minute. Yeah, Jotmon says, Jimmy, you're fired. And since Jomont makes our amazing new TBS intro, you know, he might have some kind of say in that pretty soon. If he keeps making awesome stuff for us.
Yeah, I admit that intro, I didn't know we were going to get that. That was pretty cool.
That was outstanding.
Absolutely.
You know, and I got to give Jotmon credit because he never asked for it. He just says, hey, here you go. And it's spot on every single time.
Yeah.
So,
very cool.
Yeah, Jotmon, thank you so much. Keep it coming. You know, for those that you don't know, I mean, he's also been doing a lot of stuff on the DCTVpedia page behind the scenes with show notes and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, Jotmon, we owe you a huge debt. Just don't call those favors in all at once.
Yeah,
that's all I ask.
What kind of debt is that? You mean there's like $50?
I honestly don't want to know
the
the bill.
$50 more. No,
I don't want to see
more than
that.
that. Okay, maybe $100. Gotcha.
We'll do like they do in the government and let my next generation deal with the costs.
That.
Kick that
Send
can
my
down the
kids
road.
the check.
Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah. And Mike, where are you? That does not look like your office.
That is not. This is my dad's office. And so I am in Phoenix, Arizona, because, you know, Austin was not hot enough for me.
Well, so wait, no, okay. You're in Phoenix. Kevin, you're just outside Phoenix.
I am.
Where,
I don't know.
Outside of Phoenix.
Peoria.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this show is going to work with... are we allowed to have two people in the same state at the same time?
We usually have like cover the corners of the whole.
Now,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess you're
globe
visiting,
might tip
so
over.
yeah. But we've got three people in Pacific time.
I know it's 7 o'clock, guys. It's 7 o'clock.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the show is really early when you're in Pacific time.
It is.
I
was
not been
totally
in.
thrown off.
I have not been in Pacific time very long. I've only been in Arizona for about a year, but I will tell you, I love Pacific time.
You need to.
And
Yeah,
specifically Arizona Pacific time, which is the same
Sometimes
time
mountain.
all year. Right.
I
Sometimes it's mountain,
wish-
sometimes it's Pacific.
Okay, I
Yeah.
wish I had that.
They're the chameleon state when it comes to time. But that is nice. All right, well, should we get on to some news?
Sure, we can get started with some news. We had a little this week.
A lot of news this
Actually,
week.
a lot of news this week. We're going to start with a story about PlayStation Vue. It's kind of big news that happened just after our show last week. They've decided to go ahead and drop the lowest price tier of their channels. It's because they've been getting more of these channels in the local channels in the markets, and anytime they had a market where they had the local channels, they were charging this larger fee anyways. So now your lowest price channel starts about $40 and goes up from there. Basically, it just means that lowest price tier disappeared. If you've been on that, you got 3 months to continue on your old fee, so you could enjoy it while it lasts. But it's gonna go. You're gonna be upgraded.
Since I don't use PlayStation View, I yield my time to Michael. But does this affect you at all? Were you on that low tier?
I am on that base tier, so this does affect me, and it, I mean, in some respects, it's not that much. I mean, it's an extra $10. It still keeps it well below the price that I was paying for cable before.
But $10 a month, that's an Amazon Prime membership.
It is, and it's also a 33% increase in price. So it's definitely not a trivial increase. I feel like for me, it may be the thing that finally convinces me to actually cut it off. I've been just keeping it for convenience sake and for, why not? But an extra $10 starts to make me say, this is getting close enough to what I was paying for cable that it really doesn't make sense for me to be paying this much for what I get out of it. We've discussed many times where I can find alternatives to the solutions that I'm looking for, like news and stuff like that. So seems likely this will push me over the top to cancel this.
And you still don't have YouTube Live yet, right? In your
That's
area?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also have that same tier, and I agree with the feeling of the change. It is a big impact. That $10 a month is significant in a couple different ways. To contrast with what Mike said, it still serves enough of my needs and my family's needs where we'll probably end up keeping it, but it definitely feels like a takeaway. What I'm hoping, and this is just purely hope for hope's sake, what I'm hoping is that they're going to somehow be able to use this increase or taking away this slim tier to help drive bringing in more local stations for the affiliates that they don't have signed up. And again, keeping my fingers crossed, maybe that will mean somewhere down the road they will expand that programming. And when they do that, hopefully there won't be a price increase involved with that. Now, how likely is that? Probably not. But a guy can dream, right?
All I know is I had a little bit of interest in PlayStation View, and as time went on, it was increasing, a little bit but with this price change, no. Especially with the access, the lowest tier is now $39.99, all the way up to the Ultra package, the everything, which is $74.99. I don't see PlayStation View in my future anytime soon.
The price of PlayStation View was artificially low, guys.
Oh yeah,
it was low in order to get people butts in seats watching the show. So it makes sense for them to have brought it up when it got to the point where they're like, well, we really are trying to get these channel deals, and we need to have money to do that, and they need to be able to have this money in hand. This makes sense, especially since they already got a good portion of areas and those local channels to move everybody up to that paid with local channel price and use that funds to go get the other locals. So this is fine. This is normal. Yes, it's a 33% increase. Totally understand. That's a big jump, but it's $10. And versus 30 versus 40, we're talking about the what seems like to me, compared to the $90, $100, $120, $150 options you used to have with cable, seems okay.
Well, so here, a couple of things. First of all, so I was paying $65 a month for cable before. So this gets me much closer to that cable. Instead of being half, I'm about 2/3 of what my cable price was. So again, a significant increase in price, getting me significantly closer to what I was paying for cable before. Also, the other thing is that there are other solutions out there that are priced at that $30 or even a $20 point. So to say that it was artificially low, I think is misrepresenting the market. Sling is cheaper now than PlayStation View.
But
Sling slices it right down the middle between the one company, which is ABC, and they have Disney channels and all those moving all together, and the other side of that with all their deals put together for NBC to make theirs really cheap. And you can combine them together and save a whole $5.
Yeah, and
But
it's one of those things that if one of the Sling packages works for you, then great.
Right.
But if it doesn't, then
paying
you're kind of
45.
stuck. Because the way I look at it, with the price of PlayStation Vue now, I'm almost better off just going back to Comcast because I'm going to pay about the same for the packages that I want, and I'm going to get a break on my internet on top of it. Um, but yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's still decent service, but
yeah, and that's exactly my point. When you
Yeah.
start getting closer to the existing utility and cable price, then you start to have to weigh in the cost benefits of the extra things that you get out of that cable. Um, while PlayStation Vue has a lot of good features, there are things that you get with most cable packages that you still don't get with PlayStation Vue. Recent changes to PlayStation Vue are starting to back that out, like them starting to open up remote or non-home access to your account. That kind of stuff starts to make the difference. So we'll see where PlayStation Vue goes. If this price increase is accompanied with additional value adds, like letting you access all of your content when you're away from home, then that becomes a valuable service that's worth considering. If, on the other hand, it remains exactly like it is, and I get a lot more channels, and while I don't usually use those and I don't consider them a very significant value, there's a lot more channels with that cable package when you start looking at the discounts that you get with your cable bundling and stuff like that, or your internet bundling and stuff. It's just you have to actually ask that question, and that's why I said I'll have to consider when that price changes for me in a few months. It might be the thing that makes me change, because when I start to weigh back in all of those decisions, like, well, what if I pick up whatever TV service my internet provider has at the time? What kind of bundling discounts do I get? What other features do I have? I know that with like AT&T and with Time Warner or Spectrum now, they have better on-demand pairings.
Mm-hmm.
I can get more stuff via on-demand solutions than I can with PlayStation Vue. So, it makes the equation a lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same here. I mentioned earlier that it wasn't really going to be a deal breaker for me, but it does get me thinking about things like, well, I have Cox Internet here. Just got a letter from them saying that they're going to start charging for data download overages, after a grace period. So, take this and combine it with that, and it's okay. Well, maybe I should look to see what kind of bundles they have. So maybe I end up saving a little bit of money if I roll those two things together as opposed to keeping them separate. And maybe that helps me out with things like data overages that I might be looking at down the road. It's like everything else. It's always a wait and see. But it signals something. I'm not quite sure what.
Yeah.
Kev, what's considered an overage for your cable? What are they saying? A terabyte a month, and then after that's overage?
Right. Yeah, it's a terabyte a month cap, and then anything over that is like $10 for every, I don't want to say 25 gigs.
Okay.
Although that might not be exactly accurate, so don't quote me on it.
Right.
But yeah.
Luckily,
No.
when you're streaming, that's all upload, and that doesn't count against that cap that's download. So,
Sure.
True.
so when you get close to your cap, just go streaming only.
That's right.
You got to get all your
that's-
entertainment by telling everybody else what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is that while a terabyte is a lot, when you're talking about multiple 4K streams coming in and other stuff like that, you can hit that. My brother-in-law, who also lives here, he regularly, or like when he got that letter, he got a outline showing that he's hit his limit in the last 3 of the last 4 months and significantly exceeded it. So that's obviously a concern for him and something that he has to think about. I have no idea where I've been at, because if there is a limit, Time Warner hasn't been complaining to me about it, and I haven't noticed any negative impact from it.
Yeah.
But I may be running close to that myself. I know that we're running 4K streaming a lot of the day.
Yeah.
I
Same
could say
here.
lots more, but I don't want to drag this thing out any longer.
Well, welcome. Yeah, yeah, we can. All right. Well, let's move on. Hey, Matt, did
What?
you hear they're
What?
bringing a streaming app to the Nintendo Switch?
Oh, finally! They've only been talking about doing that since the Switch came out. They said, oh, it'll come. Don't worry, give it time. And it looks like the first one has come. It's a very popular known service as
In Japan.
Ninkonigo.
Nico? Yeah.
Nico no Konigo. Yeah, so apparently this is a Japanese style of YouTube, but what's particular about it is that they like to put the comments overlaying the display as you're watching the stream,
If
which
you've
is
ever
kind of a
watched
cool
anime,
thing.
it's
It's kind of a cool idea, but it is also only in Japan.
Only
so
in Japan.
It makes sense that Japanese are getting something for their Japanese console first, I guess.
The only reason I really included this is because it shows precedent. So if they can do it there, then that gives you Switch owners hope that, okay, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Right, but how far do they have to go to really to have the Switch seen as something that's a true competitor with the other gaming boxes? I mean, look at all the different options you have now with a PlayStation View or an Xbox One, or you've got Hulu and YouTube and Netflix and Twitch and everything else. It's a step in the right direction, but again, there's a long way to go before anybody's going to consider the Switch a streaming device. Now, having said that, I don't know that's what is that really necessary for them. Seems like they're doing okay with it just being a really cool gaming device with the potential for a lot of good content down the road. So maybe they don't care.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I bet you the various streaming providers are thinking, yeah, we'd like to put our Hulu and our Netflix on the Switch, but they haven't let us yet. But the Switch is kind of a product that right now is focused on one thing, which is Zelda, basically. But that's
very specifically one thing.
Hey, it's a good thing. It's a awesome thing. Okay, we're done there.
All right.
Looks like Hulu is getting a good deal for a lot of the American style animation. They have they've gotten themselves a streaming agreement with Bob's Burgers, Futurama, The Cleveland Show, and past seasons of American Dad, where they will become, I think they're going to be the exclusive streamer.
Yeah,
for these
and
guys.
I'm actually surprised this took so long because Fox is one of the owners of Hulu.
Right.
So it's like, because the other day, I think it was on Core Killers, they announced that Futurama, with the exception of one season, was leaving Netflix, and everybody was all sad and heartbroken. What about Futurama? But that's because now you get to watch all the episodes on Hulu. So, yeah, I don't know about the Cleveland Show, but if you want to go back, watch some Bob's Burgers, get your beef squatch fix, maybe take a voyage into the future, Ama. Plenty, you got all the time in the world now.
The question is when Simpsons lands on it and becomes exclusive, they've won that market, I would say.
Yeah. Well, the problem is Simpsons, every episode ever is available on FX because that's FX exclusive.
That's
every Simpsons
show,
ever,
isn't it?
What's
it's
that?
Like Simpsons 24 hours a day, 7 days a
Yeah,
week.
pretty much. Or they've
There is that service? Where is it?
Oh, it's on FXX.
Oh, it's okay.
So if you've got access to the FX channel, you can basically watch any Simpsons episode ever.
Yeah, one thing I would say that this, they mentioned that this kind of sets them apart as the leader for American animation, right? And I think that's really, really worthwhile. I mean, one of the reasons that I picked Hulu back up, I mentioned that it was because partly because of American Ninja Warrior and stuff like that, but also because Hulu's how I'm going to be watching
Yeah.
Rick and Morty in another month or so.
They don't. It doesn't
Or-
usually show on Hulu right away.
It
Rick and
came
Morty.
on like a week later or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember, but
Something like
normally
that.
like the Fox stuff, yeah, that Hulu is where I watch The Simpsons and Bob's Burger and Family Guy and all that stuff the day after. But Cartoon Network stuff is spotty. If it comes, it may not be until after the season is over.
Well, that's how I watched the last ones, and it seemed like they were close to the very end of the season when
Yeah.
I started watching, and the whole season was there up to
But-
the point that it released. But I could be off. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
But in their defense, Adult Swim is free. It does not require a cable authentication. You can just go to adultswim.com and watch whatever. So,
That's fair.
yes. All right. Well, you know what else is launching?
Speaking of Hulu, it looks like Hulu is getting the ability to get HBO and Cinemax on the service. It looks like both of them. Well, looks like they will be able to get HBO for your standard $15 a month, and it looks like you'll be able to pick up Cinemax for $9.99. Now, I could have sworn we talked about this earlier.
No, I think this is a new. I think this is a new announcement for Hulu. It's just not a new thing because they're already doing this on Amazon and everywhere else, right?
Right. So I guess these are all running together at this point. So it's very possible we've spoken about this exact same thing. It's also very possible that this is nothing like we've spoken about anything else before.
So go back to the old news report about Amazon and just replace the word Amazon with Hulu, and it's the same story.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you know what Amazon's getting?
Well, it looks like we have a story here about an African-American subscription video service called Brown Sugar is launched on Amazon Fire TV.
Sugar.
Wait a second, Brown Sugar?
Brown Sugar. And no, I'm not making fun of that. The commercial for it actually is Brown Sugar. And then they've got the 70s like blaxploitation music. And
yeah.
Yeah, this includes iconic films titles such as Shaft, Superfly, Foxy Brown, Black Caesar, Cleopatra Jones, The Mac, Cotton Comes to Harlem, and The Car Wash.
You know, for $4, I might actually check this out because there may be some movie party gold in there. There has been a few complaints that the DC movie party tends to be a little on the white side as far as the movies, so maybe
Sure.
Maybe we'll mix it up a little bit.
Now, I was looking at this, and I this is a product of Bounce TV, if I recall correctly. I wasn't able to find a whole lot of information about Bounce's subscriber base currently, so
No, and
you know,
I think
I think they're relatively recent, right? Within the last year or so.
See, I just started seeing commercials for this on the Sci-Fi streaming app.
Okay.
Within the last week. I had never, and you know, they made this announcement and it's just brand new. So, I think this is their digital foray, or their foray into the digital world.
Yeah, but you know, Matthew mentioned it, $3.99 a month to subscribe to this. I can see this having some definite appeal. Maybe not across a wide swath, but there are definitely going to be more than a few niche groups who are going to be into this, right? You're going to have cinemaphiles. You're going to have folks who are into and maybe studying the themes of the 70s blaxploitation movie era. Obviously, it is definitely designed to cater to the African American audience. I think, you know, how they're positioning it, how they're marketing it, and how they've priced it is perfect. I don't see how they actually lose on this in terms of trying to generate excitement about it and roll it out to a bigger base.
Yeah, this is a classic long tail move for internet, right? Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't be marketing to a niche market with internet services. And while there may not be 10 million subscribers lining up to jump on this bandwagon, it will have a significant following that will more than sufficiently cover the costs involved in picking it up and carrying it. And it totally makes sense. It's a good move.
Absolutely. All right.
We have a story about Roku hitting 15 million monthly active accounts. Roku announces on Business Wire that they have been getting 15 million active accounts per month as of June 30th, which is 43% over better than what they had last year. But the more interesting thing is that they have had 7 billion hours of Roku programming, which is 61% better over the last year. So
you know what that equates to? Number one device platform.
Well, there you go.
Concurrent users, and over time. No, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because the Roku has been a popular device since before people knew what streaming was.
Well, they basically who had the crown before was I believe the Chromecast, right? Because it was super cheap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, this makes sense.
So. And, and Roku, say what you want about the interface, but they have made sure to keep current with their hardware. They keep up to date and they keep putting out compelling devices. And yeah, I mean, with as much as I use my Roku, I am not surprised by these numbers one bit.
Yeah, they were surprising to me. I mean, obviously a lot of Roku talk on the show. But, I read the story and I started looking into it. I did not realize the type of capture that Roku has nowadays. You mentioned the 7 billion hours streamed. Don't forget, in terms of hardware, they're also number one in market share. They're in almost 20% of households in one form or another. People in the past have complained about Roku for various reasons, but they're doing something right, and they're just getting better.
Oh, and we should clarify that 7 billion hours streamed in the first half of 2017.
Right. That's just
not over the
June
last
30th.
Year. This is so far this year. 7 billion hours streamed.
Yeah.
And
so tell me again how my 1 terabyte data cap is okay.
You just have to watch everything on low quality. You'll be fine.
That's true. 360p is fine.
Yeah, sure.
Get yourself a Wi-Fi pineapple and
as I watch it on my 4K Roku TCL screen that's rolling out.
So I think the secret to Roku's success is making the product look approachable. The purple color is cute. I mean, it's Fisher Price, sure, but nobody's going to look at that and feel intimidated by a big sleek black box with silver trim.
And like I was saying about the UI, yeah, I know a lot of people complain about the UI that it looks dated or it's oversimplified, but I think that is the benefit of it because that's one thing where my dad could actually use it with minimal instruction. My dad could understand, if I gave him my Android TV, well, what's this stuff at the top, and then have to explain that, oh wait, no, this row is just apps, this row is games, up here is featured stuff it thinks you might no, that he's out.
Right.
Roku Netflix.
It's a bunch of buttons, an ad on the one side, and a menu on the other side. It's really simple.
Absolutely.
I mean, ultimately, consistency, while it can get boring for some people, it is a great boon for others. It makes it easy for them to use the device that they're accustomed to. You don't have to learn new things. You don't have to worry about what's going to change next week or next month. While they may have improvements, most of those improvements happen in the hardware side or adding new features without changing or impacting the existing UI. And that's just good user experience.
Very low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Yep, indeed.
All right.
Next story we have is Android TV. Is reporting that we have a new streaming service that's coming out. Looks like it's CenturyLink coming out with their own service, which you'll be able to use their own box that they're providing. It's made by them and LG. It's an Android TV.
It's LG and CenturyLink sitting in a tree. ANDROID.
Oh, how cute. First
'Cause
comes
I think they're both married. They can't be caught
stream,
kissing.
then comes the revenue, and
Yeah,
okay, I
something.
don't know where it goes from that.
Good luck rhyming revenue to finish this.
Sorry. Oh, come on. Something blue, something new, something. Okay, never mind. No. This looks like it's them coming out with their own service. And I'm reading on this that it's going to be that you can get the box for $90. You'll get services for starting at $45 a month. It's going to have ABC, A&E, CNBC, a whole bunch of different channels on it, and it's going to include a cloud DVR. My only question is, will I be able to get this without CenturyLink service? Think so, maybe not. I don't know. It's not clear in this article, and I'm looking into it.
It doesn't make sense that you could. I mean, or that you would be able to use it, right? Like, this is clearly a device that is made for them, for their streaming service. So,
if that's the case, it doesn't seem like it's not going to be a big hit.
Well, and just let me clarify. When you say, do I have to have the CenturyLink service, you're not talking about CenturyLink stream. You're talking about CenturyLink internet.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Right. Oh. So obviously this is a device that's intended to bring CenturyLink streams, for lack of a better term, broadcasting service into your home. But I'm hoping they aren't limiting it to people who are just CenturyLink customers. That's
right.
Cutting off your nose to spite your face in the extreme.
Because Comcast did that recently with the Xfinity Stream Anything app. The problem is it only works if you're currently connected to a Comcast wireless or wired network, which is ridiculous. I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed, that this is more of a Sling / PlayStation View competitor, because they're giving you a cable box in the form of an Android TV.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the price, if I remember correctly, the price of the other one was like $20 or something like that. Yeah. It was relatively inexpensive, clearly designed as an add-on to the existing service. This is more expensive, so they're looking at more like $45 a month for this kind of a package that they're expecting people to pick up. So I would expect this to be available to non-CenturyLink customers, but for specifically the CenturyLink streaming service. And whether or not that makes any sense, you can decide whether or not you would want a service that requires you to have their basically another cable box. I mean,
but
this is...
Here's the thing. It does not require you to buy this player. This player is just something that they're offering as, an incentive or a way to get you up and going. It says that if you already have an Android device, you can download the CenturyLink Stream app for direct access. But it does not currently support other Android TV devices. And then on your PC, you can access the service directly with the CenturyLink app or page or something.
Right. And interestingly, I believe you can also download an app for your Roku device from the Roku channel store that allows you to get the CenturyLink service, the stream service.
Yeah. See, I'll probably buy one of these just because it's a new Android TV. What was it, like $80?
90, 89, 99.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still need to buy the other one that we saw at CES, but...
So you bring up a good point, though. So the question that I had when I read this was, who is this marketed to? Who is this intended for? Obviously, if you already subscribe to CenturyLink Stream, this might entice you to say, oh, I've got a box that, lets me bring it in maybe a little bit more easily. Maybe I can hook it up to another TV in the house or use it on my main TV and move something somewhere else. But when you're looking at the cost of the player, which is $90, plus the cost of the service starts at $45. And that service is, that's starting to get into PlayStation View territory,
Yeah.
right? So, with something like the PS View, if you are already a PlayStation owner, it's an easy point of entry, right? Because you've already got the hardware, you just throw the service on top of it. What I was trying to work through was how exactly do they plan to kind of broaden the appeal of this? Not only in and of itself, just as a standalone product, but considering it's now going to be competing with the Roku, the Sling, PS View, all these other options that people have. There's a catch somewhere in here. I'm just not sure I see it at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's meant for someone who is thinking of cutting the cord and doesn't have a device, or someone that has an older device that's looking for an easy way to upgrade. It's the same approach that Sling took with the Sling box back at the early in the year, where they put Android TV that boots directly into Sling TV.
Okay.
And
yeah, I mean, I think you're referring to their newer Air TV as well, right?
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Air TV.
So the Sling, they're one of the things that I think they're probably going along the same kind of general route there. I agree with you, Clyde, that basically the advantage to going with the Air TV, if you had Sling and you were looking for a device, getting the Air TV made sense. It loaded directly into the application that you would be using for most of your viewing and your content. It integrated things like the guide, the TV guide, very easily and prominently. So it made it very easy to find the shows that you wanted and stuff like that. It also did provide integration for things like your Netflix account and made it fairly easy to get to those as well. But the key being, you were going to be
Oh no!
Oh.
I don't know what he was going to
majority
say.
of your content.
Oh, you're back.
We
Back?
lost
Okay.
you.
Yep.
Yeah. But you're going to be consuming most of your content via Sling TV, so the Air TV makes sense if you're going to buy a device. I think this kind of falls into that same category. If you're going to go Century Stream, or if you're looking for a new device and you're trying to decide what service to go with, then CenturyLink, the stream, makes sense.
Yeah. And as if this is available standalone without needing to be a CenturyLink subscriber a la Comcast, then good for them. As I keep saying over and over, I welcome as many players to the party as possible, because the more options you have means the better pricing is going to get down the road as there's competition.
Well, while you guys were talking, I went ahead and looked. They have a free 7-day trial. I went in to start that process up. It does ask you if you want to link your CenturyLink account, but it doesn't say you have to, so it's still questionable.
Yeah, so.
It does bill you separately, either PayPal or credit card, so it might be free. I might try it out just to find out.
Maybe because I'd say towards the end of the month, we're gonna have some. It's about time we do another 30-day challenge.
Sure.
So we might want to talk about that offline. But
okay.
All right.
Well, we have another story.
What?
This story is Sling TV and the fact that they've added Showtime Family Zone, the Weather Nation, and now have a new Refer a Friend program. Quite frankly, it's really nice the fact that they've got they got Weather Nation, because they didn't have any of the weather channels before, and so I'm happy that they were able to pick up some kind of weather channel. It's something that they severely were missing. Other cool thing is the Family Zone, which is the Showtime basically channel for family for families, where you can have that on. It'll have cartoons or the nice little shows on. No worries about anybody getting offended on that one. Now, the Refer a Friend program looks like it will get you a $5 discount on your subscription whenever you refer a friend. So that's cool. It's nice little features.
Yeah, I've never heard of either of these. I didn't know Showtime had a Family Zone.
I look at that list and I just wonder what Family Zone means. I mean, it includes Showtime, Showtime 2, Showtime Showcase, Showtime Extreme, Beyond, Next, West, and Women. I mean,
Well, I think I think it refers to it in that article, or I may have read it in a separate piece on it. But I think the hook there is that I mean, those are definitely channels that you wouldn't normally associate with a family package, but this service, this add-on, is delivering no R-rated content at all. So I don't know if they are curating the normal programming on some of those channels to remove that.
Yeah.
But they're definitely stressing, listen, this is something that you can put your kids in front of and not have to worry that they're going to stumble across Deadpool. We're Showtime, but we're not monsters, right?
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder. I'm just curious how this whole thing works. Is it actually a different channel that's its own channel and stuff, or is it kind of, some of those other channels with the bad stuff cut out, or what? I don't know.
It's not clear at this point, but yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
The other thing that caught my eye on this one was that they've got that enticement, the $5 referral. As of right now, it doesn't look like there are any caps on the referrals. So if you're a current customer, you can, they're taking the page out of the DirecTV book. If you can get 10 friends to try it out and subscribe.
So technically, the VOD Squad is now sponsored by that
with your refer a friend code of.
Yeah.
Oh no! Actually, Dish has been doing the same thing for a long time too. So the refer a friend thing is a very well known satellite company tactic of trying to get more people on the system. So.
Well, sure. I mean, word of mouth is always the best way to get new customers because they, by and large, they will tend to stick with you at least a little longer than maybe your average person off the street, right? Somebody is always better than a cold call. In terms of, hey, you might want to try this out. I think you'll like it.
And when it gets down to it, I mean, $5 to a $5 discount to a subscriber is a tremendous deal compared to what they pay for any other way to acquire a customer. I mean, you see the guys standing in the stores selling DirecTV or whatever, their commission's significantly higher than $5 per episode, per thing. The referrals from other websites and other services, all significantly above $5. So this is a steal of a deal. If they can reduce their revenue from one customer to add another customer, that is an outstanding bargain for them. So definitely worthwhile for Sling. And hey, if that means that you can get free TV just by having your friends hopefully enjoy a better experience than what they're already enjoying, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. We have one last story. Google Play Movies has started doing their 4K streaming, which we mentioned before on this show, but now it's 4K HDR in the US and Canada, select shows only. But if you guys have Google and you want to be able to try out your HDR content on the stream and see how their stream looks, you can do it now. A couple movies include Kong, Skull Island, the Lego Movie, and the Lego Batman movie, Mad Max Fury Road, Suicide Squad, Fantastic Beasts, and Where to Find Them.
Yeah. And if you were thinking about buying one of those new TCL TVs that we talked about last week, this may be a good way to test it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the expansion of 4K content is nice to see. And speaking as someone who is getting close to the point where, from an equipment standpoint, I'm going to be looking to do some upgrades, or at least thinking about them, the timing of it definitely works. So, I definitely want to see this expand. I want to see more offerings from different providers and different ways to acquire it, as opposed to going out and buying a $25 disc.
Yep.
Says, and my 1 terabyte cap is laughing at me in the background.
It's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Go ahead, watch your 3 movies a month. It's fine.
Yeah. That definitely is a trick. As all these services offer more and more high bandwidth, high definition content, your bandwidth cap gets locked in a little bit tighter. It's like, really? Thanks, guys. One thing I wonder, and I don't use Google Play. I use Amazon predominantly. Mm-hmm. Can you download your digital purchases onto your device with Google Play? Does anybody know?
You can if you
For offline
if-
viewing. Yeah.
for offline viewing, yes. So you can definitely. For example, I bought the Lord of the Rings trilogy because it was on sale, and I love those movies. And I'm going to be going on vacation soon, and when I do, I'm totally putting it on my tablet for me to watch wherever I am. So,
Yeah.
long flight. That's a movie for the long flight.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, Google Play would be about the same. You can do pretty much everything you can with your Apple account.
Yeah.
So, just minus. I don't know how much more DRM does Google Play.
Well, Google Play doesn't allow you to play it on anything but on either an Apple device or an Android device.
That's right, yeah.
You can't pass it around
No,
to another
no,
device.
you-
or anything
yeah, I
like
didn't
that.
think you could move.
You
it
lock
to your
it to the
computer.
device that you
So,
downloaded
yeah.
to. But it's on there, and it I think it does have a time limit, but it's absurd, like 30 days or something like that.
Yeah,
It'll eventually
I'm
time
an
out.
avid Android user, but I don't purchase stuff. So,
Oh, also, most of my shows on Google Play TV have been their free promos that they've been getting over around the years. So I got lots of free movies. It's nice.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, that ends our weekly news. I mean, we had a pretty good news week this week.
Yeah,
It's not
I mean,
bad.
Whole bag.
which leaves us with I think what 8 minutes is good enough to talk about our main topic, right?
Oh, sure, that's plenty of time.
All
We
right.
have a light, little, tiny, almost nothing main
I
topic.
know it's not that big of a deal, but if you guys didn't know, today is considered a day of action.
Oh man, not
Ba-da-ba.
again! How many times do we have to do this, guys? Oh.
We have to keep doing this because the court keeps wanting to go back and forth with the misclassification of the internet. Are they a telecom service, or are they what's the other term that
Utility.
utility? Yeah. But what it boils down to is they're both wrong. Both classifications are wrong, which is why they have to keep going back and forth. You put it in one, get sued. You put it back in the other, you get sued.
Well, and I mean, that back and forth has existed. And I want to be careful here because I don't want to make this a political discussion in any context. But
Oh, go ahead. It's okay. You're running first.
Don't worry. Clyde will be able to make it political no matter what you say.
Yep, and I'll take one side. He said, I can take the other. It's all cool.
okay, all right. Well, there you go. I'm going to go plow right in. I mean, the day of action today is really centered around the stated intent of the FCC and the new FCC chair, Ajit Pai, to reverse the 2015 Title II classification, right? I mean, 2015 was the big win for proponents of net neutrality. It was, okay, we have finally gotten it considered something akin to, listen, this is a right that everybody should have, and if we start allowing ISPs and other telecoms to turn it into I'll use a lazy phrase here, a pay-to-play situation where you have to pay more to get your content delivered to your audience, that's going to be a net loss for everyone.
Yeah.
So that was 2015. Everybody celebrated. And then, as often happens, administrations changed. The FCC leadership changed. And Ajit Pai has very long been a proponent of, listen, the internet's not broken. Why are we trying to fix it? Right. So that's where we find ourselves today. There was there was some discussion on Daily Tech News Show earlier today with Tom Merritt around this very topic, and I won't rehash anything that was over there. You can grab that at your leisure. The difference between 2015 today, as I see it, though, is really it's truly the intent of the FCC. You have a team in place who really truly believes 2015 was wrong, and we're going to make that right. You know, Pai was quoted as saying, "This is a fight we intend to wage, and it's a fight that we will win."
And
that's not somebody who's really looking out for the public interest, right? That's somebody who is, they already have made up their mind, and they're just looking to carry it out.
The thing is, I would disagree in the fact that they are going about it the correct way. They didn't just say, we're making this legislation, let's do it. They said, we want to do this legislation. We are bringing this up now to start the discussion. Should we do this? Should we not do this? So before, in previous cases, they have all each time there was a change, it was FCC said, nope, this is the way it is. Do it. Flip the switch. Lawsuit, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. This time, they're saying, okay, here's our stated intent. This is what we want to do. This is why we want to do it. Thoughts?
Well, first of all, that's exactly what they did last time too, and there was a huge push for Tom Wheeler to change his mind from what is originally was that we should not be making changes to the change of we should make it a Title II service and make them a utility basically. So no, I don't agree with that at all. So. Okay. That being said, the other thing is that's not the only thing that matters here. We know that there were things that were broken before.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's illegal to do those things, and so those things don't happen anymore. There's an awesome article in the Verge, and actually I watched the video that they also produced for that. I recommend everybody it is definitely one-sided. It points out a lot of the flaws in the FCC's and Ajit Pai's particular view. But take your time, go out and see Time to Save the Internet again. Made by I should probably give the guy.
Yeah.
And so,
as Kevin pointed out, DTNS, Daily Tech News Show episode for July 12th of 2017, Tom gave the 15-year history of this battle. Mm-hmm. And I agree a lot with what he said in the fact that they've got these two ideologies of how the internet should be classified based on precedent that was set in the 30s and the 90s. Yet the fight is whether or not they should fit under one of these two, but the internet doesn't fit under either. What they need to do, the correct way to do this, is to create legislation specifically around the internet, because you can say, well, it fits into the telecom, but you have to take out this, and this, and this, which create problems. But then you have to do the same thing over there. So I think the only solution is to just stop fighting about whether it fits into those two classifications and actually get people that know what the internet is and what it means and how valuable it is to create legislation to protect it that is written specifically for the topic. So
here would love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that's right. That's probably one of the biggest pipe dreams, because as Tom put out, that the 1993 legislation or decision, that was about cable, which had been around since the 70s. So that's just how long it takes. And like telecom, that's how long it takes for this stuff to before people can actually get a grasp and do something about it.
But back to your point, Poodle, it's they are at least, they have the structure in place as the structure exists today, and they are taking the right approach, right? So the whole point behind the Day of Action is go out and make your voice heard. Just like in 2015, contact the FCC, make sure that you are giving your specific concerns about why you think the 2015 classification should be in place. Obviously, give your reasons why you think it should be rolled back as well, right? That's a two-way street. It's really intended to make sure that, like so often we see nowadays, make sure that your voice is being heard, whichever side you believe in, whichever side you're backing in this particular horse race.
Yep, and I just put a link in the chat. There is a nifty little tool at battleforthenet.com that basically it creates a letter that you can send to your legislators, that you fill it in with your name, your info, and then the text in there can be edited. So you can go, if you go through and read the letter, and if there's a point in there you don't specifically agree with, you can change it. You can tailor it specifically to your view. But the one thing I urge that I've learned, through my political activism, is that when you contact you need to send a letter or an email to your congressman, because so few people do that. If you send one letter, it's counted as like 10,000 people, or thereabout, based on the population that they cover, because so few people actually contact them. But that doesn't mean that your legislator is going to go along, with oh no, crap.
We lost Michael.
We lost Michael.
Maybe I'm back.
Hey, he's coming back now.
You're coming back. Okay, there you go.
I don't know what happened there.
We can hear you. Yeah, absolutely. Even in 2017, one letter carries so much more weight than emails and phone calls and faxes. And again, it's just, like anything else, if you have something that you are passionate about for whatever the reason, make sure that your voice is heard. And the best way your voice can be heard is to get a piece of paper in front of somebody that says, here's what I think and here's why I think it. Right.
Yeah. The only thing, on this topic, it's hard to sit down and then, have a conversation where it doesn't turn into, this is what I want. This is what I want. If for those that aren't completely up to speed, like I said, go watch today's Daily Tech News show for the history. Tom did an excellent job summarizing it. There's plenty. I'll put something else in another link in the chat for that. But I'd say read up, because a lot of people are mistaken about what net neutrality is. And I've seen people fighting, almost to screaming, that the other person, but they were fighting over the same thing. It's just one of the people had it kind of backwards on what neutrality actually meant.
Welcome to the political climate of
Exactly.
2017.
Well,
pretty
that's
much true.
been the
of
political
all things.
climate of the entire history of,
Yeah.
as long
More
as
so now than
as long as the English language has existed. But it's
We
like
just have-
when a husband and a wife get in a fight and they're, I don't want to go to that restaurant. Neither do I. But no, we're not going to that restaurant. I know.
Yeah, it's very War of the Roses. It's the same arguments that we've been having for centuries. It's just that we have new and interesting ways to have them.
Yeah.
We've invented so many more ways for us to talk past each other as opposed to actually talking to each other.
Right. I think one of the things that is difficult here is that the reality is that we have two significant problems with net neutrality. The first is that the lawmakers don't have anywhere near the appropriate amount of expertise to be making these kinds of laws. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is that because of the complexity of making laws over something like net neutrality over the internet, the tendency, especially because of the first issue for lawmakers, is to piggyback existing laws and policies. And so what we end up getting is laws and statutes that are written based off of pre-existing laws and statutes that are adapted and adjusted to make them work. When in reality, what we actually need is new laws written completely from scratch based on the actual technologies and the situation at hand. But again, refer back to number one, the lawmakers don't have the technology expertise necessary to do that in the first place, let alone the time and the energy to do such. And, to some extent, this is one of the things that I appreciate from Ajit Pai's perspective of the law that we have is based on this this old information that is adapted and doesn't quite work. Now, I don't know that I agree with his approach either, because it is a very very opinionated approach, and not necessarily the best approach for everybody either, because it doesn't seem to be a completely clean let's go back to the actual technology approach as I would like to see happen either. So I feel like we don't have a good solution at the moment, and I would like to see a good solution brought up, but no solution is definitely not a good option either.
Maybe
Right.
maybe we should break this down into specific issues, and then we can talk about it week by week, and this can be our summer of action. Let's start with the classification of it as a telecom or whatever. And now
Yeah.
there's like
That-
the
that's
next
the-
there's the
that's-
next 15 episodes.
Yeah, we need to make that smaller, just a little bit.
I think we would have to subtitle it "Winter is Coming."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean basically I can't tell you how you should feel about it. Obviously the internet is a wonderful and beautiful thing that we need to protect. Everybody should be able to access it, but you still, the provider is is entitled to something to, for the access, but do the trying to think of a good way to phrase this where I'm not going to sound like an absolute jerk.
It should be fair,
Yes,
quite frankly.
yes, it should be fair, and only you can decide how you feel. Yeah, it's you. I'm talking to you. Yeah.
We need to have toll booths on the information superhighway, and
We already
The
do.
toll
They're
booths-
called your ISP.
well, right, the toll booths are okay, but the toll booth operator should not be able to decide whether or not I can drive my car down the highway,
No.
or if I can only drive it on certain highways or through certain toll booths, right?
Yeah. But as I was saying is, before you go out there and start picking fights with people and spouting off, make sure do the responsible thing and inform yourself. Because somebody's going to call you on it, and you don't want to look like a big moron when they counterpoint your point and you're just like deer in the headlights. That's the worst feeling. So, so I guess before you go out and debate it, do a little bit of research.
That makes a lot of sense.
Any other thoughts? I mean, before we move on.
I agree with Kevin. It seems like this is just gonna happen no matter what people are gonna say. I feel like Ajit Pai has made up his mind, and he doesn't have to take anything we say or do really into any heed, and it's just gonna be do what he wants. I think that's probably what's gonna happen here, and that means we're gonna have to deal with it again. And we, as we know from before, no matter what they do, the internet is smart enough, the wisdom of the crowd is smart enough to basically get around any restrictions that can go on, except for, because, you're blocking me for something, I'll just go through somebody else. I'll see if I can. Although it would be nice if we had more options. So.
And it just dawned on me, this is a lot like transgender, where, one side of will say, nope, this person is physically, biologically a male. He needs to be treated as such. But then they say, oh no, he appears and identifies as a female, and that goes back and forth. But neither is like 100% correct, right? That's where, there may need to be some sort of, I don't have a specific scenario for it, but you may need specific legislation or identification, because you don't fit 100% into either of the two classifications that are currently being served up.
If I were to take your metaphor, I would say and again, I'm not an expert in this, but in a transgender person, it would be nice to know medically if the person is male or female. If they were going to be going for an operation, that makes sense on that side of the spectrum. If the person is going to be performing in a play, it really doesn't matter at that point.
That's the thing. It comes down to usage, and it's the variables that they use. Well, we're going to use these classifications, and then he falls over here. But if you use these classifications, it actually falls over here, and that's so.
If nothing else, it's an apt analogy from the standpoint of it is an area where we cannot continue to rely on what's been done in the past or what has come before. It's new ground, and we need people to be out there on the forefront trailblazing to help us get to the right place.
Absolutely.
Whatever that right place ends up being, whatever it looks like.
All right. Well, any other thing? We moving on?
We could talk about this for days.
Yeah, I know. That's like kind of...
We're all kind of being like, no, we'll let that lay there now. It's cool.
All right, well, here we go. We have a bumper for Rants and Raves.
Woohoo!
Mr.
Goodness,
Joteman.
that was awesome.
And with that, why don't we let our guests go first? Kevin, what do you got? Rant, rave, what's going on?
I'm honored. I have a rant and a rave, and they both kind of tie into what we were just talking about in some fashion. So bear with me. My rant, and it's going to be a bit picky, I fear, but I'm going to rant about it anyway. A lot of websites around the internet have chosen to illustrate or to drive home the point of the day of action and the reason behind it by throwing reminders up on their sites about this is what the internet might be without net neutrality, right? So there have been pop-ups, there have been sort of fake loading pages or slow loading pages, to say, haha, wouldn't it be terrible if the internet looked like this? Go contact your FCC representative. One in particular kind of bugged me a little bit. Twitch chose to throw up again, personal opinion, they chose to throw up a pretty annoying bright red banner across the top of all their pages. And on top of that, and I didn't have a problem with that because it draws your attention to the links, but they also decided to put up one of the little sort of clocking spinning wheel icons in the banner, and then also replace some of the Twitch chat emotes with that same spinning wheel icon. So I hit Twitch last night to do a stream, and I'm looking at the page, and I'm seeing all these spinning wheels like there are 9,000 scripts trying to load on the page. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? And eventually, through trial and error, figured out that it was just an effect that they threw up there. And if you, you click on the link and it takes you to the page and talks about the day of action. I admire the intent of all of these things. More attention is better. But geez, Twitch, you could have done it a little bit better. I'm never a big fan of something that makes me think there's something wrong with my computer, or my browser is acting up, or why is my internet signal bad? Again, in this case, kind of appropriate. But it was just, I felt it was really poorly implemented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see how that would be annoying.
Extremely annoying.
Yeah. Get Ted Twitch on the phone.
I think we might know somebody there. All right, so that's my rant. My rave, again, kind of tying into the net neutrality issue from the aspect of all of this great content that we can access via the internet, that we can access because of the freedom that the internet provides, allowing smaller content creators to go out there and do their thing and find an audience, right? Without having to be a Time Warner or a Comcast or a Sony or a Warner Brothers or whoever. Shouting out Chainsaw Suit Originals. And those guys over there, you've probably heard some of the names. Mikey Newman, Chris Straw, Ben Padden, Paul Verhoeven. Chainsaw Suit is doing some awesome stuff. Specifically, and full disclosure, I am a patron of this particular series. But Movies with Mikey is an absolutely fabulous product. Chainsaw Suit's got something like 77,000 YouTube subscribers, right? pretty good for YouTube. In the grand scheme of a cable company or Warner Brothers or whoever, a drop in the bucket, right?
Oh, yeah.
But those 77,000 people are getting some amazing stuff, and it's the types of things that people want to fight about when they talk about net neutrality that allow a guy like Mikey Newman to showcase his talents and to get that stuff out there. Movies with Mikey is it's looking at movies in a different way. It's entertaining. It's informative. It's completely positive. It's not one of those things where you kind of, you tear stuff down or you make fun of it. It's looking at movies in a different way, finding different themes that you wouldn't have considered, finding different layers in things. Recently spotlighted a movie that I would have never thought to watch. French movie, subtitles, not normally my cup of tea, but he did an episode on it. I watched the movie before I watched the episode, so I was informed about his review. And now it's one of the best movies I've seen in quite some time. I loved it.
What movie was it?
It was Amelie.
Oh, yeah.
With Audrey Tautou, I believe her name is pronounced.
Amelie.
I've heard of the movie, never would have thought to watch it, but it's like, okay, there's a Movies with Mikey about this movie. I'm going to go watch it so I can see what it's about and then listen to what did Mikey see that I missed, right? It's that kind of content that I love, and I love being able to get. So that's my area. And oh, by the way, the series was nominated for an Emmy Award for this year.
Mm-hmm.
The final nominees are announced tomorrow, but Movies with Mikey was nominated for I believe it's in the category of outstanding international series or special short form. And please don't hurt me if I got that wrong.
Well, it doesn't matter because I've watched a couple of those movies with Mikey. They are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks of stuff that I wouldn't think about if you gave me 1,000 years to sit and watch the movie 1,000 times. It's unbelievable, and it makes the experience so much better.
It's worth mentioning that he is now full time to the web stuff. He is no longer dividing his time with a full time video game company job. So
right, correct. He is no longer with he's no longer at Gearbox, and sadly the Borderlands series will be a little bit less off without him. But yeah, he is full time, 100% devoted to Chainsaw Suit Originals, and off to a great start.
That being said, Gearbox people keep telling me that my voice is similar to Mikey. So if you need someone to step into his spot. Just give me a call.
We might have a voice talent face-off coming down the road somewhere. I would actually like to see or maybe hear that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. What about you, Matt?
Mostly I have a rave this week. Mostly it's Prime Day happened just recently, and a whole bunch of stuff was on sale. And a whole bunch of stuff was shown as on sale, but really wasn't on sale.
No.
So there's a lot of that, actually. It's like, hey, look, it's this thing, and that price is decent, but
my
that's
coworker.
the same price it's been.
Well, here's the funny thing, because my coworker, I asked him about it, and he said, well, I bought some dog food. And then I got home last night, and I'm looking across the internet, and everybody kept saying, yeah, I bought dog food. Apparently, the best deal was dog food. And that was it. That was like, although the Echo Dot at
$35,
not bad. I mean,
yeah,
down
they've
from
added that
50,
level before, but yeah.
But
they had the Echo half off too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Echo was like half off. The Dot was like 25% off or something like that. So they had some really good deals with their own products.
Yeah, because they can.
See, that really jumped out at me that was not their products. But really, so two things. First of all, I would be interested to see what your top one or two items were, Matt. And second of all, really, Matt coming out about Amazon in a positive way?
No. You see, you got it all wrong. I didn't buy anything from Amazon.
Oh,
because
okay.
everybody else was doing big sales at the same time. And I'm a cheapskate. I don't like spending money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? I saw on monoprice.com they had a 60-mile ranged antenna for $10. So yeah, I dropped $10 for that. So I'm hoping to see if I can actually pick up channels where I live, because that's about the range where I should be able to get stuff. And just because it was $5, I bought a 40-mile range one just because it was like, yeah, drop that in there too. It's okay. I used an old gift card for Christmas, and so it was like, cool, no problem.
That is the blessing and the curse of Amazon, is that it's so easy to see something and go, oh, well, I might as well throw that in the cart too. And next thing you know, you look at your email confirmation and you've spent $100.
Yeah.
See,
I'm pretty sure you can duct tape those together and get 100 miles.
I hope so. That'd be great. Yeah.
See, I the way I use Amazon is if I see something that intrigues me, I throw it in the wish list. Eventually, I'll look at my wish list. If that stuff's still appealing, then I'll consider it. There's stuff that's been in my wish list for over a year. So I'm probably not going to buy it.
Yeah, but it'll tell you as it goes down, right? Like that's one of the neat things about your wish list is you can watch the price go down and it'll be like 12 things went down and it'll tell you how much. So when that price gets low enough, it's there and it'll tell you and you can go.
Yeah, absolutely. And the wish list is a nice thing to have because you can also it's not only to let you kind of come back to it later, but it's also one of those things where you can try to avoid your impulse buy, right? You can say, oh, this is a great, well, you know what, let me put it on the wish list and I'll come back to it in a week or a couple of weeks. And then maybe you go back to it and you say, you know what, I really don't need that. I fully intended to not make an order yesterday, and I was so proud of myself to not be doing anything for Amazon Prime Day. I had to sit on my hands a little bit because of the Echo deal, but I got past that. And then my wife comes to me and says, hey, the cassette adapter on the van for my phone is busted. Can we get another one of those? So $50 later, I picked up my $6 cassette adapter and got my shipment today.
Oh, no.
I'm hi, my name is Kevin F. and I have a problem.
Mike, so what I was going to say was about 6 months ago, I found out there's only one video game franchise that I actually invested in. That's the Star Ocean franchise. Well, I found out that they had come out with a new game about a year ago, but only for the PS4. I don't own the PS4, so I said, I threw it in my wish list. About a month ago, I got an alert from Amazon saying, hey, the game is now $20. And I was like, well, it's a little bit more compelling, but still, I don't have a PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, I got a thing that said, hey, the game is $11.
When did
$11. I will buy it, and it can sit here until I get my hands on a PS4. I'm not gonna rush out and buy a PS4 just to play one game. That's I'm still working on the last game, and it's been almost 8 years. Maybe not that long, but yeah, and so. Then, Mike, did you have a rant or rave? Or did I miss that?
Not really. I've been on vacation, so I haven't been really doing that much.
That sounds like both a rant and a rave.
Yeah, well,
Traveling with the family.
I could rant about Southwest and baggage, losing my baggage on a cart on the tarmac for an hour, and in Phoenix, nonetheless. Like one of our shirts, like literally melted to another shirt. So like the screen print on it was melted onto the other shirt. So both shirts, one of which was brand new, was just garbage. And because one of the like 5 carts off of the plane got loaded onto a cart and it was a separate train. You know how there are like those little trains of carts? It was a separate one from all of the other stuff. And the driver went away, took the stuff to the luggage carousel and didn't bother to go back to get the other train. And they knew it was there, but they didn't have a driver. So it just sat there for like an hour until we went and complained. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we'll get a driver out there to go get that, I guess, since you're asking for it.
See, and
It's
I
that's
mean, as long as you asked, I guess.
exactly. Yeah.
that's one of the main reasons I refuse to check bags. I understand that's not always an option, and
Yeah.
but
Two
oh,
2 weeks with a family of four,
yeah,
including
no, I get that, and that
4 and 10 year
sucks.
olds.
Oh,
Not
come on.
really.
You can do that with a carry-on.
Well, I
I usually travel with a carry on myself,
yeah.
but when I take my kids, we usually end up with bags, and so it was definitely a frustration. It took. I mean, if you look at it was a 2 hour flight from Austin to Phoenix, but we actually stopped in El Paso, so you could look at it as a 1 hour flight, and after which we spent a full hour waiting for our bags. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Rock on.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So, as far as
I-
me, oh,
I was gonna say I'd rave about
Oh.
Phoenix, but I mean, it's hot. What is there to rave about now? In the winter,
that sounds like fighting words.
Uh-oh.
Kevin's gonna come
in
over
the
there
winter-
and beat you up.
in the winter when I come here, I'll rave about how awesome it is that it's nice and comfortable and I'm not dying of cold and I'm not melting. But right now, I feel like I have to move quickly to get inside before my shoes melt to the ground.
Yeah, that's factually accurate. There's no fight here. It's hot. Yeah, I don't care who you are or how long you've lived here. It's hot. Although they do say it's going to cool down. I think it's going to be down to about 107 or 108 in a few days. So
See, but
the
I
relief is
enjoy
coming.
that. I
Absolutely.
love that. I get there in August and I just go,
Well, do you
Fighting
come?
nuts.
But here's the thing: do you come after the monsoons have left?
usually it's like it's been 2 years since I've had to go down there, but it's usually at the beginning of August.
Okay, so yeah,
Beginning to middle is typically when I end up there. So
yeah, close. The humidity makes a difference. I mean, the difference between 13% humidity and 23% humidity in this kind of heat is significant.
yeah,
This will be my first time actually living through the monsoon season here in Arizona, and it'll be interesting.
yeah. Those empty aqueducts, they actually serve a very big purpose.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, 50 weeks out of the year they're empty, and you think, what the
Why?
hell are these doing here?
Yeah.
And then the 2 weeks out of the year that they're actually keeping the water off the roadways and keeping people from driving into them and dying,
Yep.
they serve their purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's an amazing sight. All right. Hey, for me, I had a rave this week, and I keep meaning to talk about it. There's a new series on Sci-Fi that I recommend everybody go out and watch. It's called Blood Drive. Have any of you watched this yet?
No, no,
Oh
heard about it.
man,
No.
it is so good. So it is like a grindhouse movie that's broken up into or as a weekly series. Where if you've ever seen Death Race 2000, where they
Original?
race across, yeah. If that were directed by Sam Raimi, i.e., early Evil Dead kind of stuff, then you would get this Blood Drive. Basically, it's a race, and the cars run on human blood and people. So
Oh,
it's set in the future, the bleak future of 1999, after an environmental disaster drives gasoline prices through the roof, and it is absurd. It is way over the top as far as like gore and graphic. I mean, they have the show itself has like stuff blacked out just because it's like, yeah, we can't even show this. And it is awesome. I walked into it with no idea what I was getting into, and I absolutely love it. It's campy, it's fun. If you want to see someone grinding a person like a wood chipper into a motor and just blood and everything spraying everywhere, yeah. Check it out.
All right.
It's fun. And I just realized when we were talking about this, bonus, that $11 game I got, it's also the day one edition that has all the extra content. So even better.
Lucky you.
Soundtrack. All right.
That is a score.
It is.
Yeah, I'm all in on Blood Drive.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, the description had me, but I'm checking out some of the details on the wiki, and yeah, I'm in.
Go out and watch the trailers. They're really good, and they usually every episode they build in a commercial based on stuff from the show episode,
Nice.
and a lot of times it's subtle, where you think it's actually sci-fi going to a commercial, and then you realize, oh,
Hey, wait
okay.
a minute.
And
Yeah, I mean,
oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, the title of the first episode is The Effing Cop. So, yeah.
And so each
all you gotta tell.
each episode is like it's almost like a standalone movie in the way they title it. And also I've noticed some really cool people that are directing and writing for the show, like and now I can't think of his name. Dude, if you ever watch Psych, he was the main character on Psych. He directs at least one episode, and he's a huge horror fan, and it was cool. That was one of my favorite episodes. It ended up being, and then check it out. Check it out on Sci-Fi. It's very fun.
I got one last little tiny rave that just I'm excited about. Alton Brown has announced he is officially coming back with Good Eats.
Yes, yes.
Sweet.
Oh,
And I feel like I don't know. I feel like something that has been missing in my life is coming back to me. It's nice.
We'll have to remind me after the show, but I got to meet him, and it was really cool.
Cool.
I don't want to waste too much time. We're already pretty far in, but all right. With that, first off, I want to thank Kevin. Thank you so much for hanging out. Where can other people find you?
Usually hanging around the Diamond Club or Diamond Club adjacent. Social media wise, I am on Twitter at RealBadWeave. I know a few weeks ago you had W. Scottus 1 on as a guest, and he mentioned a Jackbox game night stream for Diamond Club. Mm-hmm. I'm the other half of that duo. I do the Tuesday night streams after the Night Attack show, after the post show is done or close to the end of it. So if you want to find me from a gaming perspective, twitch.tv/badweave. Tuesday nights we roll Jackbox, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Well, thanks for joining us. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I'm honored that you had me come in. Looking forward to seeing Jimmy again next week, hopefully. But
I know Joe Mon
the hair just sort of
fired,
migrated,
but we're not going to go that far.
Well, see, and you have to kind of nip that in the bud, I think, because I think Jotman is getting a little big for his shoes.
Yeah, Jotman, we love you, but don't want you to get too big in your britches. So, hey, everybody, thank you. Those of you out there that are watching this after the fact, we go live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central on Diamond Club TV. After the fact, you can find us on YouTube. Just search for the VOD Squad. If you want to write at us, send us hate mail, send us love mail, whatever, you can reach us at the VOD Squad or at the VOD Squad on Twitter or the VOD Squad at gmail.com. Other than that, guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.